Susan, hi, Jim Delaplane here. I want to give you some assistance with regards to creating the wheat. And yes, if you're new to Illustrator, it is quite, as you call it, a technical feat. It all comes down to really understanding the pen tool. So if I zoom in here, I'm using the spacebar control key to zoom in. And then I go to my direct selection tool and select this. I see that you created this by using a click-click method of creating this curve here, which you did actually a pretty good job with, but I want to show you a simpler way to do that, and it's more effective. So I'm just going to drag this out here. Okay, so the preferable way is to use as few anchor points as possible. Okay, so I can see here you use all these anchor points to get your curve, but the preferable way is to use the pen tool and use the click and drag method. So if I held down my cursor here, clicked and dragged in the direction that I'm going, okay, and then come down here and then click and pull here. See, I'm getting that nice curve, okay? So, so that's how you would get that same curve, but you don't have all those anchor points now. Okay, so it's quite simple in that sense. All right, so but we're going to create a shorter stem here. I have a sample here that I found here that will kind of emulate as to what wheat looks like. You should always look at some kind of reference. So I just went to Google and found this. Okay, so now what we'll do is this. I'm going to shorten the stem, so I'll bring this down here. And notice these handles, that's really what it's all about, being able to edit a path here. So pulling these handles down and manipulating them is really key. Now notice what happened. I just clicked away to get those handles back. With the direct selection tool, you're going to surround one of the endpoints, and now I'm able to pull that handle up. Okay, so we'll create something like that. All right, so now if I look at this, you've got an assortment of different leaves here, or they're not leaves, but they're whatever you'd call them for the wheat. Okay, so you're going to create something separate for that. So I'm going to go to my pen tool. Let me just deselect first. Go to my pen tool, and I'll click and drag upward, and then come over here and click and pull to the right. Okay. Now I'm going to hold down my Alt key. Okay, that gives me access to the Convert Direction Point tool. Actually, I think they call it something else now. And I'm going to pull this handle down because now I'm going in the opposite direction. I want to go in the direction where I'm pulling this handle here. So now when I let go, I'll come down here and click on this endpoint and click and pull. Okay, now let me zoom in. All right, so essentially I've got this shape so far. So to edit this, I would want to go to that tool again. I'm holding down the Alt key and click and pull up. Okay. Now that tool is shown here. Okay, it's called the anchor point tool. Okay, so the shortcut to access that tool is from the pen tool. You hold down the Alt key or Option key if you're on the Mac. All right, so we have this shape here, which is basically it looks something like this here, which is fine. But more importantly, you need to know how to edit this. So the direct selection tool allows you to click here, and now you can pull in these handles here. Okay, so we'll just get a shape that looks something like that. All right. To get a little more advanced here, if we go to the stroke here, you have corner points. So notice what happens now. If I zoom in, these are sharp edges. If I click on this rounded corner, these are slightly rounder now. Okay, so if I click away, they're nicely rounded, so they're more effective. Now what I want to do is fill it with black. So right now it has a black stroke with a white fill. So if I click, I have to kind of make sure everything is seen here. In the toolbar here in the window. So if I swap this, right now it has actually no fill with a black stroke. If I swap it, right, um, notice what happens. Nothing. Why? Because it's not selected. So I need to select this, all right, and this is showing me the attributes of this. There's no fill with the black stroke. But I want to actually fill this with white. Okay, so if I simply click on the default white fill black stroke, you get something that's essentially the same. It looks different. It looks the same rather because you don't see it's a white background. So if there was a red background, you'd see a red through here, but now it has a white fill. So again, we have to go back. Let me go to these corner points and round those out. All right, so now we have a shape, but I don't want this to be like this. I want to fill it with black, so now I'll swap it. And I'll also delete the stroke. All right, so now by deleting the stroke, you have no control over those corner points. So we'll leave that as is. All right, so let me just dock this again. So now we have a shape. So let me zoom back out. And if we look at the weed again, I'm going to kind of stack these up here like this. So I'll go back here and and I'll drag this up here and rotate it, okay, and then position it. So what we'll do with this stroke is make this thicker. Remember, it's a logo. You want it very graphic and very thick. So I'm going to go to my stroke panel and let's see what 3 points looks like. That looks good. All right. So now for the stroke, all right, again, remember I talked about the endpoints. Right now this is squared off. Let's make this round. So this would be rounding off like the cap part. So now we have a rounded part. Okay, so that's a little more, I like that better. So let's drag this to the right here. So it's all a matter of being able to take your time and know what you want to do. Just remembering that the selection tool or the black arrow will select a shape and simply move it. So it selects the entire shape. All right, the direct selection tool directly selects individual anchor points on a shape. Okay, so I can select this endpoint and pull it and drag it and reshape it. All right, so I'm going back to my selection tool. I'll drag this up here. I'll rotate it a little bit. Okay, now I want to duplicate this. All right, so I'm going to hold down my Alt key or Option key if you're on the Mac. Notice as I hover, let me zoom in closer. As I hover over here, I get the double arrowhead. That tells me that it's going to duplicate. Okay, so I'll drag this up, and now I duplicated it. Okay, I'll do the same thing again. Okay, and again. All right, so we have that. So now I'm going to select these. Actually, let me do one more. All right. So I'm visually matching the distance here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is take these, select these. I'm going to hold down the Alt key, drag them over here. So I duplicated everything, and now I'm going to reflect these. So if I go to my rotate tool and hold my cursor down, I'm going to go down to the reflect tool. So this will reflect or mirror these shapes here. So the way this works is you're going to click once, okay, and then you have an arrowhead here. You're going to slide up here, click and drag again, and now I have it kind of flips, and I'm holding down my cursor. I'm going to drag down a little bit until I kind of mirror that and let go. Okay, now I'll go to the selection tool and click and drag and pull these up here, and I get that. Okay, I mean, I'm not liking how these are looking, so let's say, I mean, for example, these are basically rotated a little more upwards. So I could do this. I'm going to select all these and just delete them. I'll take this and rotate it. So I'm doing these things to show you how you can edit this. All right. So rotate it. Okay. So now what I'll do is, and I'm going to select all these again and delete them. Okay. So now I'll duplicate this. Okay. Now here's another method. I'm duplicating this. I'm letting go with my cursor and then the Alt key. Now if I hit Control D, it duplicates not only the item but the distance and the angle. So it makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to eyeball it. So mathematically it's correct. So Control D again. Okay. And I'll stick with 4 this time. All right. So now I'll select these. I'll just drag these over by holding down the Alt key. And I'll go to my reflect tool again. Click here. Drag up here. Hold down my cursor and then pull. Okay. And I'm going to do something like that. All right. Then go to my selection tool and move them in position. And I could actually rotate the entire thing. All right. by doing that. Okay, so you have something like that. Now also what I'm going to do is group these. So Control G. So now they're one object. So now if I click on one, they'll all move together. All right. Whereas this one is not grouped, so they get selected individually. To group these, I will Shift click to add to. The Shift key adds to the selection. I'll group these, Control G, and then I can use my arrow key to increment it over and down. Okay. Okay. So we have that. So now, okay. So that looks fair. Now what we'll do is, let's see, the wheat here, we have these strands up top. Actually, it looks like I need another top piece. So I'm going to go to my direct selection tool, hold down my Alt key. This will directly select part of a grouping. I'll click this and drag this over here. All right, so I duplicated that. Now I'll rotate this, going here, and rotate this and move this into position. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And now back here with these strands here, I can do the same thing. So I will go to my pen tool and I will click and drag, holding down my cursor and dragging, clicking and dragging. Okay. So now this is well, it's hard to tell because I don't have my there. So this is a white, this is a black fill. I want a black stroke this time, so I'll swap it. And then what I'll do is, let me dock my toolbar again. I will make this thicker. I'll make it the same 3 points. And I will also make this a round cap point. All right, so we've got that. And then I will hold down my Alt key, duplicate this, pull this up here, maybe rotate this a little bit, duplicate this and over here, and duplicate this, drag it over here, and duplicate it again, holding down my Alt key and letting go with the cursor first. All right, so that looks kind of terrible. So, but you can edit this now. So if I select this with the direct selection tool and pull this anchor point up, see, this is how you edit it. This is really how you finesse this. All right, so I'll pull this up here. So I get something like that. So it's not exactly this. I mean, this has more, so you can, kind of fiddle-faddle with that, but at least you know how to do it. All right, so now that you know how to do that, I would delete these. I would select this whole thing, group it, Control G. All right, I'll drag this over here. I can scale this up, rotate this slightly. Okay. So let's say we have that. So now I'll delete that. So now I'll take this, hold down my Alt key, and drag this over. As I'm dragging, I'm holding down the Alt key and the Shift key. The Shift key will constrain to a horizontal or vertical slide. All right, so I'll bring this somewhere over here, let go with my cursor, and then let go of the Shift key and the Alt key. Then go to my Reflect tool, click on the very bottom, then let go, then slide my cursor up and click and drag. All right, and now before I let go, I'm going to hold down the Shift key. That will lock it in. All right, and then let go of the cursor and then the Shift key. So now you have it perfectly mirrored. Okay, so so something like that is that's how you do it. You asked me how to do it. That's how you do it. All right, but I would definitely look at reference and work with the pen tool. That's really that's how you learn how to edit it. Understanding the pen tool is vital in order to edit anything in Illustrator. All right, everything else is kind of bells and whistles, and well, not quite, but you need to know the pen tool, and that's the struggle. That's the initial struggle. So I hope that helped. Okay, take care. Bye.